Just 8 days until the federal government reaches its borrowing limit. President Obama will address the nation tonight at 9 Eastern. House Speaker John Boehner will have a response. Fox News will cover both live. There are now two competing debt extension plans vying for public acceptance and political positioning. We have Fox team coverage tonight. Senior political analyst Britt Hume will give us his perspective on the situation. Chief White House correspondent Ed Henry reports on which plan the president likes. But we begin with Chief Congressional Correspondent Mike Emanuel on what is in the proposals. Good evening, Mike.
Brett, good evening. President Obama and Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid have backed down on the idea of tax increases being a part of a deficit reduction plan. Still, it is not clear if we're any closer to a deal. Dueling news conferences on Capitol Hill as Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid and Speaker John Boehner sell dueling plans to solve the debt crisis. But with an August 2nd deadline looming larger, it still sounds like lawmakers are focused on ripping their opponent's proposal.
I believe that the plan is full of gimmicks.
Republicans' short-term plan is a non-starter in the Senate and in the White House.
The House Republican plan would cut $3 trillion and calls for a two-step approach to cut spending and avoid default, and would include spending cuts that exceed the debt hike, caps to control future spending, and a balanced budget amendment vote by the end of the year.
It's not cut, cap, and balance, but it is built on the principles of cut, cap, and balance that can pass the United States Senate as well as the United States House.
The Democrats' $2.7 trillion plan calls for dollar-for-dollar savings and debt ceiling increase, no revenue, and would include cuts which Democrats say are already supported by Republicans. A leading Senate Democrat suggested Republicans should recognize a good deal when they see one.
We have moved in their direction so many different times, and they don't budge. No revenues, no revenues, no revenues. That's why you can't get a grand deal. You can't get a grand deal without revenues.
Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell expressed frustration a bipartisan plan crafted by congressional leaders over the weekend was rejected by President Obama.
A bipartisan plan to resolve this crisis was literally within our reach this weekend. The president has to know that this approach is a responsible path forward. We ought to put it back on the table.
At this hour, Senate Republicans and Senate Democrats are holding separate meetings to discuss the impasse on the debt talks and how best to move forward. Brett?
Mike Emanuel on the Hill. Mike, thank you.